This video is going to be a review for episodes 1 to 4 only. I'm not going to be talking about the events or storylines that took place in the last 4 episodes in this video. I might briefly touch on certain things that happened in the last 4 episodes in this video, but very infrequently. The first thing I want to speak about is that this new season was a 15+ rating rather than an 18+ rating. And I wonder why they made that decision. And to be honest, you can tell it was a 15+. Because it felt a lot more watered down than previous seasons. There were less adult themes. I would have preferred if they had kept it in 18, to be honest. I don't like that they changed it. Also, I thought some of the slang was overused. You ain't got to swear in every sentence, bro, or you slang in every single sentence. Don't get me started on the excessive kissing teeth and random cussing. For example, when certain characters would be like, "Aye, shut up man," for no reason as well. You ain't gotta say still at the end of every sentence, or kiss your teeth after every sentence, or swear after every sentence. Even road men don't do all that all the time, man. But anyway, the first 4 episodes, in my opinion, they were alright, they were okay. Not a lot happened, there wasn't a lot of action, but it kinda set the tone for the rest of the season. And there was a lot of foreshadowing for the rest of the season, which I'm gonna touch on. I'm gonna explain this whole Spain-Morocco storyline because I know quite a few people found it confusing and some people didn't quite understand what was going on. So essentially there's this new plug in Spain. Well, actually, before I go on to explain it, I want to say that personally, I like this storyline. I thought it was quite good. Not amazing, but it was good. But a criticism I would give though is that the new plug is meant to have that aura, you know, that intimidating presence, and I didn't get that from any of these guys. Not from Chash, not from Meunier. But not gonna lie though, that scene where Emilio fainted after finding out that his wife's got 3 to 6 months to live, that scene had me crazy. That felt like some sitcom comedy shit. The way my man just fainted, you know, the way my man just dropped. So yeah, anyway, back to explaining this whole Spain-Morocco link storyline. Lizzie, she goes to Spain to talk to Emilio, and he says that he's out of the game because he wants to focus on his kids and his sick wife, and he promised her he would leave the game because it would hurt the kids too much if they were to lose both parents. So he's passing the torch over to Antonio, and Antonio is Emilio's wife's brother. But Lizzie, she's got her concerns about this. She doesn't think that Antonio can keep the Los Duques gang and the other gangs in check, so she decides to go to the meeting in Spain with this guy called Juan El Bueno, who's working with the Los Duques gang. And Antonio warns Lizzie that this gang is crazy and they're strapped and that they've tried to rob him in the past. This kind of foreshadowed what we saw later on. Pay attention to the dialogue here, guys. Juan El Bueno says, "Sweets are my weak point," while he's eating some pastries and donuts. It's the subtle details, you know. That's excellent foreshadowing, because I'm gonna go back to that scene, that line, when I do my review for episodes 5 to 8. But anyway, Lizzie and Antonio suspect that there's something dodgy going on. They try to leave the meeting early, but Antonio gets shot and killed by the Los Duques. But Lizzie manages to escape, and so it's pretty much implied, we can pretty much infer that the whole meeting was a setup by Juan El Bueno. Remember that name because I'm going to be going back to that. So he was getting them, Juan El Bueno was getting them all cozy and comfortable, so it paved the way for him and the Los Duques gang to strike more easily and to kill Antonio, and that's exactly what they did. And I guess they also, part of their aim was to also take his food, take his drugs, and they don't respect Antonio like that. Since Emilio is out of the game, they see that as an opportunity to take over, and they're paying Juan El Bueno more money now. And so Dushane comes to Spain now, and Antonio tells him that Juan El Bueno was actually a Fed, but a dirty Fed, a corrupt Fed. Since the Los Duques gang are paying Juan more money, and I'm going to call him Juan from now on rather than calling him Juan El Bueno, because yeah, saying Juan is a lot shorter, so I'm going to call him Juan from now on, but I'm referring to Juan El Bueno. So yeah, since the Los Duques gang are paying Juan more money, they've got him in their back pockets. But Dushane, he doesn't just want his 2 million that's riding in the shipment. He also wants a regular supply, and Juan tells him he's got to go to Morocco for that, to fix the shipment issues. But while he's in Spain now, he goes to this meeting alone, and tells Lizzie to go back to London. And he ends up meeting this Moroccan guy called Chash. And this guy, yeah, like, he pretty much speaks like Mandem. He low-key looks like a Moroccan version of the rapper The Game. But yeah, like, he wasn't convincing as a plug. I know he wasn't the boss, Munir was the boss, but still, neither of them, not Munir or Chash, neither of them had an intimidating presence, which is something I mentioned earlier. But yeah, anyway, Chash, he was low-key funny though, especially when he said to Dushane, "You're looking mad stressed, bro." And when he made that Noah's Ark joke to Jamie. Remember how earlier I said Juan El Bueno was a Fed? And so yeah, him and Juan and the police team got tipped off, and they intercepted the shipment coming like Kante, you know, with the A1 defense. And so Dushane's shipment has more issues now, and he sends Jamie out to Morocco to fix the shipment issues and to find out who the mole in the camp was, and to find out who snitched and told Juan El Bueno. While Jamie is talking to Chash and Munir, bearing in mind Chash's day one, his boy, is at the table too, and this guy is also Chash's bodyguard as well as his boy, but he doesn't speak any English. But yeah, like I was saying, Jamie's talking to Chash and Munir at the table about the fact that they gotta find out who the leak is before the next shipment comes in. Chash and Munir leave the table to talk in private, and they come back to reveal to Jamie that the next shipment will be coming. But what they don't tell Jamie is that this one is going to be a trap, a decoy shipment, because the bags are not going to contain any real drugs. The bags will just contain newspapers. It's merely a setup to find out who the leak is and to find out if this bold guy, Chash's day one, is the snitch. And so the only people that know that the bags won't contain drugs are Munir and Chash. That's what Munir and Chash were speaking about in private when they left the table. Bearing in mind though, Chash's day one, his bodyguard, doesn't know. So Chash makes his day one think that it's just a regular shipment with drugs coming in. And so if Juan El Bueno and the feds find out about the shipment, and yeah, like if Juan El Bueno and the feds find out about it, they would know, Munir and Chash would know that it was Chash's bodyguard who snitched. Because if my man thought it was a regular shipment containing drugs, of course he would call the feds if he is the snitch. And that's why Chash and Munir left the table, because they didn't want anyone knowing, especially not the bodyguard knowing, that it was going to be a decoy shipment containing newspapers, so that they can lure him in, catch him out, and find out that he's the mole. And that's exactly what they did. Juan El Bueno and the other feds came, and so bang, there's your answer. The bald guy was the leak all along. And so Chash killed Creto. That's his name, Creto. Yeah, that's the name of the bald guy. So yeah, Chash killed him. And yeah, that's the end of that storyline. This is one of the 48 laws of power, and this plan was orchestrated by Munir and Chash. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Act like you don't know what someone's doing behind your back, but actually, unbeknownst to them, you're actually onto them, and you set up some kind of lure, some kind of plan, so like some kind of trap to figure out if they're snaking you. You set up some kind of trap to figure out if they're snaking you. And this strategy was very similar to the strategy that Dushane used in order to find out that Driz was the mole in season 3. Next topic I want to talk about is some of the new characters. Most of the new characters, in my opinion, could not act, and most of them weren't interesting or charismatic or authentic at all. For example, that Tia girl, her acting was so shit in my opinion. I'm just being as raw and as honest as you can be. Why the fuck should I care about the fact that she's got to take care of her sisters and that her parents are not around? No one cares, G. The writers didn't do a good job of making us sympathize or empathize with her character. She's some B-Tech female Jamie. Also as well, like I said, her acting wasn't great. Why is it that in every scene she's in, it looks like she's doing a try not to laugh challenge? It looks like she's trying to hold in a laugh, even in scenes where she's meant to be serious. Her character was just dead overall. If you compare her to guys like Michael, Renell, these are some of the kid characters we had in season 1 and 2. Those guys were authentic, they had interesting personalities, they had interesting storylines, and you actually felt empathy for them. You guys get what I mean, innit? And their acting was better. You compare that to characters like Tia and the two new shotters that shot for Dushane. I forgot the names. Don't even get me started on them. Their characters were about as dry as Jack's lips. And that convo they were having about mortgages, buying homes in Manchester was just so unrealistic, man. What 15-year-old, because they looked about 14, 15, what 15-year-old is going to be talking about buying houses and taxes and mortgages and shit like that? Especially not no 15-year-old that's on the roads. Come on, man. They're far more likely to be talking about buying watches and clothes and PS5 and shit like that. That would have been far more realistic to make them have a convo about that. And speaking of the kids' characters, where was Axe's funeral? This guy dies and gets no funeral? Like, what the fuck? I thought that was strange, to be honest. They should have had a funeral for Axe, and I think it would have been better if they actually showed us Axe's death on screen rather than just talking about it. Lauren's new man. This guy was doing way too much. He was just so controlling, and his Scouse accent made him even more annoying. Out here sounding like Carragher and Gerard and them, man. Someone tell Trent to collect his uncle, fam. And okay, we get it. Aaron goes uni and he's book smart, we get it. It's like in every scene Aaron was in, yeah, he was either studying or telling someone that he needs to study, and or he's telling someone that he's got exams. It's good that he's studying, don't get it twisted. It's good that he's studying, it's good that he's getting his grades and that, but it's not every scene he's in he's got to show us he's studying. It's like the writers were trying to say, hey guys, look at this youth, he's at uni and he's not like his brother, he's not on the roads, he's studying, he's getting good grades. Look at him, he's studying, he's getting good grades. Okay, we understand, G, we understand, we get it. Speaking of Aaron and speaking of Jamie's brothers, you can tell that Steph and Aaron both lost respect for Jamie when he came back. Steph didn't even want to go to his trial, and when Jamie came back, he didn't really want to talk to him. You could tell he had changed. He was jokingly swearing at Kit when like telling Kit to fuck off, and so you can see the change in behaviour of Aaron. And all this culminated in him telling Jamie to fuck off in a serious manner when Jamie told him that he's going to go away for a bit. You can tell Steph loves Jamie, and when Jamie went to prison, that really messed him up. That fucked him up in the head. And you can see that Steph is changing every episode from episode 1 to 4, and he went on to change even more. But yeah, you can see that Steph is changing every episode. He was slowly getting worse, slowly getting into more trouble. His grades were falling off. In episode 4, he was swearing at Jamie, like I said. Steph is changing. Because in season 3, Steph would have never done any of that stuff. In terms of the predictions I made, I was right about most of them. I said that Jack would be on demon time, and she was. She played a big part in catching Axe's killer and finding the girl that kidnapped him. We saw her get into a fight and beating the brakes off this guy. And I did say that she can probably fight and that she'll fuck someone up this season. I also said that she would catch her first body, and she did, and that she would try and help out her sister in any way she can, and she did that as well. But one thing though, she needs to stop telling people to hurry the fuck up when they're right next to her. It's not every day. Like literally, people will be right next to her and she's like, oh, hurry the fuck up, man, hurry the fuck up, man. It's like the writers are trying to tell us that Jack is bad and that she's about that life. Again, okay, we get it, Jack is bad, we get it. I said that Dushane would try and leave the drug game this season, and we saw that too. I said that Jamie will try and come up with some plan to eliminate Dushane. Again, we saw that. But one prediction I was wrong about though was Driz. I said that Driz would still be alive, but nah, I was dead wrong about that. I was dead wrong about that. He was actually shot 20 times, which is crazy. And the guy that killed him, as we all know, that's Sully. And let's talk about him, and let's talk about Sully. I actually like the storyline involving him and the whole situation that Pebbles, which is this new character that's Sully's niece, got herself in, and where she actually robbed these guys. And so Sully beats up Coombs' character, takes the food, and tells the guys that Pebbles robbed these guys called Cypress and Kadeem from Peckham, tells them to stay away from Pebbles, but in return he'll give them the food that she stole back. But the guys weren't having that, innit? The guys were basically like, nah, fuck that. We don't only just want our food back, yeah, we want that back, but also we want to turn pebbles into ashes. So fuck your niece, innit? So that's the kind of energy that they were on. And we also saw man like Killy, but in Top Boy is Kadeem. He needs to learn how to throw hands, because in Blue Story he got banned in the face, and in EastEnders he got banned in the face by Jay. Now Top Boy is getting banned in the face by Sully. He needs to change his nickname to Licky or something, because all this guy does is hold licks. That's all he does. I'm also thinking though, where was Jermaine, Sully's cousin, all season? Not only was he not there for not only was he not there throughout the entire season, none of the characters even acknowledged his absence, which I thought was just weird and unrealistic. Where was Abby as well, Aaron's girlfriend? She was in quite a few scenes last season, but all of a sudden she's not in season 4? What's that about? And there's no mention of her, not even from Aaron. What the hell? Now Dushane and Sully, these two, their friendship is a thing where they may have beef from time to time, but if one's in trouble, the other will always back it and do what they can to help out the other. I don't see Dushane ever killing Sully, or vice versa. Their beef pretty much stems from Sully feeling like Dushane doesn't treat him like an equal. He thinks that Dushane treats him like one of his workers by telling him what to do, giving him commands, ordering him around, etc. Sully doesn't like that, and he's not going to acquiesce. In fact, he's going to stand up for himself, and he doesn't let Dushane chat to him anyhow. And that's what we saw in the fight scene that they had. Sully even said to Dushane, "I ain't your puppet." Dushane likes control. He likes control, and he can't control Sully. That's why Sully was smiling after that fight. And big up to Ryzen for one of my subscribers. I'll put his comment here. He mentioned this too in the comments to my last video. Sully also doesn't like the fact that Dushane doesn't make decisions with him as a team, because at the end of season 3, Dushane decided to recruit Jamie in his organization, and you got Jamie's little brothers involved when it didn't concern them. That play that Dushane made, you can tell Sully wasn't happy about that. All he wanted to do was just kill Jamie. But like I said, Sully is annoyed at the fact that Dushane makes these decisions without talking to him first, and this is why he said something like, "Why don't you get your new little mate to help you?" Something like that. Sully doesn't like taking orders. Like, Sully doesn't take orders from no one, and he let Dushane know that. But one subtle detail I noticed though was that Dushane brought up the fact that he's bailed Sully out of many situations, and Sully looked hurt. Like, the face he made told many words. You could tell he knew what Dushane was saying was true with just that one look on his face. And so I think subconsciously he also wants to prove to Dushane and to prove to himself that he can make it, by himself, and that he can make good smart decisions by himself independently without Dushane's aid. And so I think that's partly why he's so angry at Dushane. Sully's micro expressions, his micro expression spoke for itself. And speaking of Sully's micro expressions, Sully looks broken throughout the first 4 episodes of the season, and throughout the entire season he just looks broken. Like, his face, he just looks like he's had enough of life. And Jason's death really fucked him up. That guy was like a little brother to him, and you can tell that death has really affected him. I find it very interesting, the dynamic between Dushane and Jack, and how Dushane couldn't give 2 shits about Axe's death. He only wants Jack to find Axe's killer because it makes his organization look tougher and better. And it kind of reminds me of when Sully called Dushane selfish, and how that could be evidence of that. But Jack, on the other hand, she genuinely wants to find the killer because of her guilt and remorse. You can see she genuinely feels bad about Axe, and I think it's partly because she recruited Axe. But to be fair to her, Dushane told her to, innit? But nonetheless, she still recruited him, and she was complicit in that whole scheme for Axe to put the bag of guns in Jamie's house, and she feels bad about that. And that was kind of the catalyst for Axe's death. And I think that's why she wrote the letter to Axe's mum apologizing. She actually feels bad about it, and I think consciously or even subconsciously she kind of blames herself for Axe's death. The theme of loyalty was portrayed throughout the season, and the headline for the season was loyalty before everything, and that was explored throughout the season too. A lot of characters exemplified loyalty in some kind of fashion. Jack was loyal to Sully and her sister. Sully was loyal to his niece. He took big risks trying to save her life. Jamie was loyal to his brothers. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say for this video. That's it for this video. Leave your comments regarding section 4 leave your comments regarding season 4 in the comments in the comment section below, and my review for episodes 5 to 8 will be coming soon. But yeah, that's it for this video, and until next time.